Cities are taking a closer look at recycling to see if it's really worth it. Isle of Wight County now will only accept a limited number of items, and it all has to do with how much this costs.
But it's not just Isle of Wight. We're seeing more and more cities all across the country, including Chesapeake, moving away from recycling. And that brings us to the question, is recycling a waste?
Antoinette Delbell tonight with some answers.
Peter Carlson in Smithfield has been doing it for 2 decades.
I think most of us try to do the right thing.
Recycling, that is. Like many folks in Isle of Wight, he drives to one of its several recycling centers and drops off cardboard, plastic, glass, and more, keeping it out of the garbage.
I think it's much tougher on the environment to keep filling the landfills, and we've all got a responsibility to help take care of our earth.
But starting September 14th, the county will no longer recycle most items on this list. Instead, only clean cardboard, so no pizza boxes, and aluminum and steel cans will be recycled, leaving the other stuff to be taken out with the trash.
The reason for the change is cost, the cost to recycle.
Isle of Wight's solid waste manager, Michael Etheridge, says they're simply not making much money on some items, but there's still a strong market for cardboard and aluminum. When they started the program a decade ago, he says recycling was taken at no cost, but now the price they pay to get rid of the waste is the same to recycle it. Etheridge says for them, recycling everything just doesn't make sense.
So we have two things. We have distance that we have to haul to move material, and then the amount of material that we're collecting.
Over in Chesapeake, city leaders ended their curbside recycling program altogether, cutting ties with TFC Recycling in July. It's a move they say will save them $2 million a year. The city saying in a statement that nearly half of the material collected in the blue bins is either burned or disposed of in the landfill. It's a problem facing the entire nation. A lot of things taken in as recyclables right now are actually ending up in the landfill. That's because a lot of stuff being tossed in the bins shouldn't be there, and it's expensive to sort, causing some cities to actually lose money on recycling. But TFC disputes that, in a statement saying in part, the market is good for all materials. However, last year, experts say the U.S. generated roughly 40 million tons of plastic waste, but only 5 to 6% of it was recycled. Experts say it's partly because the market has dried up in China.
There used to be a pretty robust market for recycled materials, but that was largely because it was an export market. So China, for example, and many Southeast Asian countries used to buy a tremendous amount of our recyclable material, process it, and then send it back to us. We would buy it back basically as raw goods. That market has ended because of some policy changes on the China side.
So is recycling a waste? Maybe not entirely.
Keeps it out of the garbage stream, so it's helpful in that sense.
And back here in Isle of Wight, county officials are encouraging folks to continue recycling cardboard and aluminum after next month because they say that could eventually save taxpayers money. In Isle of Wight County, Antoinette Delbell, News 3.